this is Kansai Rider #1. I figured since today was #1, we'd talk about maybe who I am and what our plans are for the channel. So let's get into it. To start off with, I'm an American. I'm 26 years old and I've been living in Wakayama City, Japan for about 2 years. And I figure since there aren't a lot of English-speaking motovloggers in Japan, I figured I would, I don't know, give it a shot. I like riding, definitely my favorite hobby over here, so I figured it'd be a small way to expand my hobby. So I know a lot of motovloggers, they talk about bikes, and of course I love talking about bikes, but I figured this would be more not bloggy. I mean, it's still going to be a motovlog, but definitely more Japan related than bike related. Even though we're going to be going everywhere on my bike, there's going to be a lot of destination vlogs. I know that living here, if you look on a map and you look in maybe a 50-mile radius of wherever you are, there's going to be 100 interesting things to see. And I had no idea. I think a lot of the Japanese people take that for granted, because sometimes I go places and I tell my wife, hey, I found this thing, it was so cool, and she's like, oh, I've never been there. I've never heard of that. And for me, so I'm from Montana, a small town in Montana, Hamilton, Montana, if you've heard of it. And of course there are beautiful things to see in Montana, especially nature. You got your mountain ranges and your rivers and stuff. But as far as it's like things that you go out just to see, there's like an old building that I know of and a few good hikes, in my small area, and that's about it. Over here, I look on the map and there's shrines. There's got to be 100 onsen within 100, well, yeah, probably 100 onsen within 100 miles radius. I don't think that's an exaggeration. And just stuff to see that's so, that's older than even my country. So for me, to go out and seeing some of that stuff, it's real interesting. And I thought I would like to share that with, of course, my friends and family who aren't in Japan with me, but also whoever else is interested. So what we're going to be seeing today, actually, since we are in Wakayama City and this is the #1, I'm going to show you around Wakayama-jo. I don't think we're going to get off the bike today, but I'll do a quick ride around Wakayama-jo, and you can see it to your right on the hill over there. I'll zoom in when I edit this, but yeah, it's Wakayama-jo. So here is Wakayama City, and the population is about 400,000 people, which that's not a small. Oh, what is this guy doing? He's pushing a dumpster down the road. That's the first time I've seen that. Okay, so God, what was I even saying? Oh yeah, so 400,000 for me is not a small town, but in Japanese standards, it's I don't know, it's pretty rural. So a lot of people think, Wakayama is, they call it Inaka, which is just like small town, countryside. And if you're moving from Tokyo or if you're moving from Osaka, yes, I would call it that. But for me, my hometown is about 3,000 people. So for going from 3,000 to 400,000, I feel like I'm in a big city, even though I'm not. Oh, by the way, there's Wakayama Castle between those two buildings over there. So yeah, about the size, population is about the same as Salt Lake City, but Salt Lake City definitely feels bigger than Wakayama City. And I don't know what it is. I think I don't know. We got a few franchises. Like, of course, we got like McDonald's. God, I think that's the only one that we have that I know. But I mean, but the Japanese franchises, we've got all the Japanese stores. But you know, if you wanna go to, let's see, get a, oh, this guy's turning. If you want to go to like a Yodobashi camera, which is like, basically it's like a Best Buy on steroids, like you're gonna have to go to a big city, and that's, you know, the closest one is in Osaka, which is about an hour and a half from here. But I feel like we don't have any of the big city conveniences. We're not, you know, super duper small, but I just feel like we don't have the conveniences of the big city. So I'm gonna be heading to the castle over here, but it's gonna take a while. As far as lane splitting in Japan, I'm not sure how legal it is. But what I do know is that everybody and their mom lane splits, or I should say filters. I know, but a lot of people lane split. I don't like to filter, or I don't like to lane split. I like to filter, but everybody filters here. So when in Japan, do as the Japanese do. Yeah, so this is actually kind of close to my neighborhood here. So, what I'm riding, let's talk about riding history. Oop, here we go. So I was on my very first, well, let's say, I was really into cars before I got into bikes. Back home, and actually you can see on this channel, I've got a 1968 Mustang project that I've been working on. And that was my main thing. I thought bikes are for chumps, give me a big V8. And then one day, my friend got a 2004 CBR 600RR, and he let me ride it. And it was like, shit, I've got to get a bike now. So I followed the advice of most people and didn't go right into a super sport, even though that's what I wanted. I really wanted that guy's CBR. So I ended up finding a Hoopty 1972 XL250 that wasn't running, and I bought it for I bought it for 75 bucks, and I rebuilt the carb, and it was all good. So I rode that, and eventually one day I was kickstarting the bike, and gosh, what are we doing here? The scooter even passed me. I was kickstarting the bike, and the shaft sheared off, and I lost my kickstart. And then, from then on, the only way that I could start my bike was to bump start it. And I didn't live in a neighborhood with a hill or anything, so that became a pain in the ass real quick. Sooner or later, I bought my first big bike, which was a 2006 CBR 600RR. I rode that for about 3,000 miles, and then I crashed it. It wasn't necessarily my fault. I was in the mountains. A guy came into my lane in the opposite direction, and scooter. He came into my lane, and yeah, I put it in the ditch, and I ended up doing about $2,000 for the damage to my new to me bike. Okay, so take a break from my story. If you look to the left, this is the moat of Wakayama Castle. There's the, well, you can see the tip of it, right? So there's Wakayama Castle. So busted my bike up. I promptly fixed it, and my circumstances changed and I ended up moving across the country to Idaho, and I made that trip I moved to Florida from Idaho, and I rode that on my CBR in about 2.5 days. I did it, and it was rough, but I did it. So after then, my things changed again. Ended up moving to Japan, and now here I am on my 2007 CBR 600RR. Shit, I about hit that guy's mirror. Okay, is this guy turning or what? Nope. So let's see, to the left we'll see Wakayama Castle again. So, about the castle. This castle was bombed in during World War II, firebombed, and it was rebuilt in 1965, I think. Actually, let's park over here. I want to get a good view of this castle. Excuse me. So, and actually, I'm also married. My wife is Japanese, and actually her great-grandfather died in during this bombing. So that's being an American, I feel kind of not guilty, but I feel a little sorry for, you know, what happened. I probably shouldn't leave my bike here, but I'm just gonna go take a peek over here. Yeah, so the castle on the inside, it's not, of course it's rebuilt, so it's not original, but they didn't rebuild it with the idea of keeping it original. They basically turned the inside into a museum, which is pretty cool. I've been through it once, but it's all in Japanese, all of the descriptions and stuff. So of course you see like a katana or you see samurai suit and you think, oh, that's cool, but you know, if you want to know more about it, you got to go there with somebody who's going to be willing to translate that for you. Yeah, so here's my castle, Wakayama City. And you can walk through that little bridge. It's pretty cool, and there's a nice little garden over there, but yeah, when I moved here, I thought I would never take it for granted, and now I ride past it every single day, and I don't notice it like I used to. There's a turtle in that pond, and this moat here too. But I guess during the bombing, a lot of people were jumping into this moat to save their lives, and I was listening to stories from my wife's grandma, and she said that there were so many bodies floating in that moat. Also, there is a park straight ahead and to the right. We'll get back on the bike soon. And this is where they carried all the bodies over to this place, and everybody says that the bike is not the bike, but the park is haunted now because of that. By the way, here's the bike. This guy's eyeing me. Huh? Jama. Means in the way. Kind of an asshole. 10 second spikes here. Go fuck yourself. God, it's hot as balls here. Okay, so to the right, here's this park here, right? And after the war, they ended up just stacking a ton of bodies here in this park. So it's a park, and I think there's a shrine there. I'm not positive, but people say that that place is haunted now because of all the bodies. I don't really believe in ghosts, but you'll find that Japanese people are pretty not superstitious, but they believe in the supernatural, you know, ghosts and things. So okay, so as far as personalities go, you're gonna find a lot more interesting and lively motovloggers, and I think, I don't know, if you ask me, I would say a lot of that is an act that people put on because the camera is going. And the thing about me is, you know, even when my wife is taking a picture with me and she says, you know, smile, you know, I'll do my best to smile, but you can tell from a mile away that it's, you know, that's it's not real, it's not genuine. So I'm not a good actor. I'm not really a loud guy, but yeah. So what you see is what you get. It's gonna be pretty mellow, but it's also gonna be real. Here's a guy on a like Kawasaki. That's cool. All right, so that was motovlog number 1. If you want to subscribe, feel free, but more importantly, what I would appreciate more than that is if you have any comments or, you know, any criticism, I would be happy to hear it, because this is my first time. I'd like to get better at this, so let me know. Anyways, thank you for watching. I will see you next time.